taking place at the center of the field, and of most importance here, Len, coming off the coin flip of a week ago. Let's see if Robert Pratt is all right, because he injured himself last week going out for the coin flip. An illustration of how things have gone for this man, the head coach of the Baltimore Colts, Mike McCormick. He is going up against his former teammate, New York Jet head coach Walt Michaels, who has seen his season completely turn around. The New York Jets with that 7-4-1 record, on top by virtue of the first tiebreaker because of the earlier tie with Miami and the victory over the Dolphins a week ago. Buffalo playing the Washington Redskins today, a game that both the Dolphins, who are watching us in Miami, and the Jets are most interested in.
You know what a difference a couple of weeks make. First 3 ball games of the year for the New York Jets, they lost, and they were after Walt Michaels' scalp. They wanted him out of town, or at least that was what was being reported. Now they are the hero. They invited him to the New York Stock Exchange. So you can see how important winning is. For the Baltimore Colts, they have had all kinds of problems.
And Mike Wood, the 3-year pro out of Southeast Missouri State, getting set to kick off to the combination of Bruce Hopper and Kurt Sohl. Good kick by Wood. And the Jets will put it in play at their 20-yard line. Richard Todd playing again with fractured rib and sprained ankle, having a sensational season. Freeman McNeil, Tom Newton are the running backs. Todd's receivers, Bobby Jones replacing Wesley Walker, out with a calf injury. And the offensive line, Randy Rasmussen, who is a question mark in the starting lineup, but we will see much of Stan Waldemar. The Jets now go with Hopper and Durkin in the backfield. A last-minute change. Pass intended for Bobby Jones, covered by the right cornerback, Larry Brazil. And checking out the Baltimore Colts defensively, Donnell Thompson and Hosea Taylor, a couple of rookies, are the ends. The veteran Herb Orvis in his 10th year out of Colorado, and Mike Fultz replacing the injured Bubba Green, bothered by a knee. Sanders Shiver, Joe Fettersfield, and Barry Krause are the linebackers. Hatchett and Brazil at the corners. Glasgow and Laird are the deep men. 2nd and 10 for the Jets at their 20.
3 wide receivers in the game.
Freeman McNeil to the 24, stopped by the right side linebacker, number 55, Barry Krause.
Both of these teams are having some injury problems. New York Jets, their secondary, they've had a lot of injury problems. Also, you mentioned that Wesley Walker is unable to play today because of a calf injury. He was unable to practice all week long. A lot of the players who are out there playing, and they are hurt. Number 14, you're taking a look at him right now. Richard Todd is definitely hurting, and this cold weather, you can just imagine how you feel when it gets cold. Imagine how you would feel if you had a broken rib and it got cold.
And Todd has a 3rd and 7. Going deep down the sideline and hit the Colt receiver. Should say the Colt defender, with the pass intended for Bruce Hopper. It caromed off the helmet of the linebacker Ed Smith.
Number 42 is Bruce Hopper coming out of the backfield, and this pass was underthrown, indicating what I said earlier, that I think that Todd is going to have more problems throwing, and that ball bounced right off the linebacker's head. Harper's following it, and he almost comes up with a sensational catch. But the ball was underthrown. Part of the reason is because of that broken rib of Richard Todd.
Chuck Ramsey inside his 10, getting set to punt to Dave Shula and Kim Anderson. Ramsey, 42.3 on the season, 6th in the AFC, and a short punt. So the Colts will take over at midfield. Ramsey, who has had a very fine season with only a 28-yard punt.
And they're giving a new life to this Baltimore offensive unit. Taking a look at the offense, Burt Jones. Zachary Dixon is replacing Curtis Dickey, who's out with an injury. McMillan. Receivers, Carr, Butler, and McCall. The offensive line, Griffin, Moore, Donaldson, Huff, and Hart.
Jim Moore replacing Chris Foote and Robert Pratt at left guard. Play action, and Jones swings it, intended for McMillan. A look look at the Jet defense up front, the sack exchange. Joe Klecko, who has 16 sacks to lead the National Football League, followed by Mark Gastineau with 15 and a half. Abdul Salam came up with a big play, stopping Tony Nathan of Miami last week, forcing the Dolphins to go for the field goal. Buttle, Blinka, and Mel are the linebackers. And the major change, Jesse Johnson replacing the injured Johnny Lynn, who was scheduled to replace the injured Bobby Jackson.
Also, Marty Lyons is not in there. Ben Rudolph is starting in place of him.
Zach Dixon. All down by Jerry Holmes. Zachary Dixon, 3-year pro out of Temple. Had a good one against the Jets in their earlier meeting. The Jets beating the Colts 41-14 some 3 weeks ago. Dixon carried for 54 yards on 9 carries.
I'd asked Walt Michaels about Zachary, and he said, I know that Curtis Dickey isn't playing, but we are really concerned about Zachary Dixon because we think he is an outstanding back.
With Dickey out, Bert Jones won't have anyone to argue with. It's a 3rd down and 4. And you saw the motion. Penalty markers down. Joe Klecko claiming that he was pulled offside.
Talking about injury situations, Ken Troy, number 48. Number 48 of the Jets is playing, but he is injured. He's got an injury problem, and if he goes down, we might even see Buttle.
Start number 68, offense, still 3rd down.
Jeff Hart, the offensive tackle, jumping offside. As I mentioned, Buttle, the left linebacker, has practiced at strong safety. That gives an indication of how thin the Jets are in their secondary. But I think you find that most teams this stage of the season have a lot of players who are banged up.
3rd and 9 for Baltimore. Draw play for Dixon. Tried to cross the Jets up, did not work. Salam and Buttle were right there to stop Zachary Dixon. And the Baltimore Colts will go into punt formation.
I think one of the reasons the New York Jets are concerned about the Colts is that the Colts have nothing to lose. They've lost 11 ball games in a row, and so they can try anything, including right here in this situation, instead of punting the ball, trying to go for it.
Mike Garrett did attempt that last week in the loss at the hands of the St. Louis Cardinals. That's Bruce Harper back at his 10, awaiting the punt from Garrett. Garrett, a first-year player out of the University of Georgia.
You can tell about that wind. That ball is just floating down there.
In fact, Glenn Garrett tried to angle it and had no shot at all. So the Jets will take over off the punt by Garrett that carried 33 yards. No score. We're early first quarter at Shea.
Race to the bottom? Not all the way. For Michelob's Light, you're on.
Cars in America, Europe, or Japan. My new car.
New York Jets 1st and 10 at their 17-yard line. Richard Todd, the quarterback. Tom Newton, Freeman McNeil are the running back. McNeil with the penalty marker down across the 20-yard line. The referee today is Dick Jorgensen. The umpire, John Keck. The headlinesman, Lagori Haggerty. The line judge, Boy Smith. Roy Clymer, the back judge. Side judge, Royal Cathcart, and the field judge, Dick Dolak. And we await the interpretation from the referee, Dick Jorgensen.
Interpretation is going back toward the Jet goal line. 5-yard penalty.
Offside, number 72, offense, still 1st down.
Chris Ward, I recall against Seattle, he was offsides and they happened to hit Wesley Walker for a touchdown that brought him back and really hurt the chance of the Jets winning in that ball game.
Right now, 1st and 15, back at the 12. Tom Newton, big opening, and a fumble. It's covered up by the Jets, and off the fumble, the Jets get a break. They pick up the first down. The recovery by Lamb Jones.
Something is going right now for the Jets because the ball bounced their way. Good move by Newt, number 44, as he jumps inside right now, back against the flow of the defense, but the ball is being popped loose. On a cold day like it is today, that's going to happen. Fortunately for them, that number 80, Lamb Jones, is there to make the recovery, and it's a first down for the Jets.
Turns out to be an 18-yard pickup. First down at the 35. McNeil out near the 40-yard line. Freeman McNeil, who had some fumble difficulties against Miami last week, but has had an outstanding rookie year, averaging just under 5 yards per carry. The rookie number 1 draft pick out of UCLA.
Here he is now. Number 24 jumping to the outside. 83 is Jerome Barkham. Number 60 is Alexander trying to get out in front to make a block. He picked up about 4 yards, which is a good play on first down for the New York Jets. What they want to do is establish that running game right now and then throw the short passing game.
Tom Newton continuing with that running game. A short pickup. Fettersfield and Laird combined on the stop. Joe Fettersfield in the middle between Sanders Shiver and Barry Krause, taking over for the injured Ed Simonetti. Simonetti, a big loss for the Baltimore Colts.
Yes, he is. He was a very active middle linebacker. As you take a look at Mike McCormick, the head football coach, and a former teammate of Walt Michaels. Now, Mike was the offensive captain for the Browns, and Walt Michaels was the defensive captain of the Browns when they played together.
3rd down and 2. This is Hopper.
No, sir. I don't believe he made it.
Hopper needing across the 45-yard line for the first down. Stopped by Fultz, Shiver, and Lesko, and it is just short. The crowd urging the Jets to go for it, but not here.
The crowd always urges the team to go for it on 4th down, but this is not the time to do that for the New York Jets. The weather is a problem here. The wind is blowing around down on the floor of Shea Stadium, and what Richard Todd wants to do, and I'm sure, is establish a running game so he can throw short passes. He doesn't want to get into a situation where he has to throw the ball long, because the wind will take over.
Temperature at 41 degrees. A very cool and crisp day at Shea. Ramsey with a good boot. This is Shula following it across and then let it go. And it is marked out at the 20-yard line. So Chuck Ramsey hitting the Colts deep in their territory. A timeout called. We'll be right back.
In many of the world's emerging nations, telecommunications isn't as much of a problem as it used to be. Thanks to, for one thing, microwave relay systems, which greatly facilitated telephone calls within the country. And even more important, something called earth stations, which made it possible to call out of the country via satellite.
Gee.
No, GTE.
After a night below freezing. After 3 hours with the lights on. After all these years, people still have more confidence in Sears Die Hard than any other battery in America. All over America. At Sears Tire and Auto Centers, we install confidence. You can count on Sears.
Cloris Leachman stars as Maggie, a newspaper columnist who has the answers to everyone's problems except her own. Advice to the Lovelorn, a world premiere Monday.
We are 4.5 minutes in first quarter. Baltimore Colts to the offense. 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. The Colts continue to shuffle on the offensive line. They now have Jeff Hart at left tackle. Randy Vanderveer on the right side. Zachary Dixon. And Dixon is bumped out near the 25-yard line. For an update on what is going on around the NFL, let's go to our studios in New York.
All right, thank you, Marv. At Riverfront, or rather in Cleveland, the Bengals have moved out ahead of the Browns. Kenny Anderson's 20th touchdown pass of the year to Pete Johnson. It's 7-0, and they've just recovered a Cleveland fumble. They're knocking at the door again. Marv?
Thank you, Brian. Pickup of 5 by Zachary Dixon.
Cincinnati Bengals are for real, aren't they? They're playing outstanding football. They're playing like the Jets. They're playing as well as anybody in the National Football League right now.
Dixon fighting for yardage. Short of a first down. And the game of importance concerning both the Jets and the Dolphins. First quarter, Buffalo leads Washington by the score of 7-0. So the Bills on the board. Gastineau and Salam combining on that last tackle.
St. Louis is leading New England 3-0 in the first quarter. Donahue a 44-yard field goal.
Third down play upcoming.
It's really difficult. You look around the stadium, see who is favored with the wind, but it's swirling down there. So really, both teams have a problem with the wind, regardless of which direction you're going. I can recall the kickoff went out of the end zone, but when you look at the flags here, one flag looks like it's going completely the other way.
Well, they did measure, but it is just short of a first down, so it'll be 3rd and inches. Minnesota leading Green Bay 14-0 in the first quarter. We mentioned Curtis Dickey sitting it out today because of injured ribs. Suffered a bruised hip last week. So the Colts shuffling with Don McCauley, and Cleveland Franklin expected to see much action. McMillan, and he's picked it up. Randy McMillan, the rookie from Pittsburgh, Baltimore's #1 draft pick, averaging 4.5 yards per carry.
And they went right at Ben Rudolph, number 76, who's replaced Marty Lyons in that starting defensive lineup for the New York Jets. Marty Lyons is in uniform someplace over there on the sidelines, but said before the ball game that he was not going to play. So Ben is going to get a lot of work this afternoon.
Lions bothered by that hamstring, and it was felt that it would be best to keep him out of today's game, and they hope we'll be back with him the next week or two. Jones incomplete, intended for the tight end, number 86, Reese McCall, covered by the linebacker Buttle, and the free safety, Jesse Johnson.
That time, Burt Jones had to move out of the pocket just a little bit and get rid of the ball, I think a little sooner than he wanted to, because of the pressure by that front four of the Jets. I think in particular, 99, Mark Gastineau. Gastineau's the type of defense. He's a very emotional player. 99 right there. You're going to be watching him this afternoon, and he is what they say an all-out player. He's going to give you 100% all of the time.
2nd and 10 for Baltimore. Zachary Dixon, short pickup, and it's Gastineau and Buttle combining.
And what they're trying to do is draw inside 99 Gastineau because of his aggressiveness, but he's so quick. The tackle is inviting him to the outside. He takes it, but he sees the exchange right there and is quick enough to make the adjustment and come back in and make the tackle. That's why he's got 15.5 sacks on the year, and he's really come into his own this year as an outstanding defensive end.
Mark Gastineau in his 3rd season out of East Central Oklahoma, putting that school on the football map. 3rd down 8 at the 32. Look out! Jones able to get away, but Rudolph right there after the initial attempt by Klecko and Gastineau. So the Jets with their 50th sack of the season. Let's go to Brian Gumble for an NFL update.
Marv, following that Cleveland fumble we told you about, the Bengals have taken a 14-0 lead on Kenny Anderson's 23rd touchdown pass of the year, his 2nd of the day. It goes to Chris Collinsworth for 40 yards. The Bengals trying to clinch a playoff berth. They're out in front 14-0 in the first. Marv?
Thank you, Brian. Van Rudolph now with 3.5 sacks on the season. And this is Mike Garrett back at his 18-yard line. Punting to Bruce Hopper on single safety.
Look at that ball. I told you the wind is really a problem out there today. It's tough to get a hit on that ball.
If you are a punter, this is not the stadium that you want to be playing at on this particular afternoon. 7:48 left, first quarter.
Quality and value in a new American car, you must be joking. Unfortunately, to many Americans with responsibilities, it's no joke. Plymouth, yes, Plymouth is changing that with the new Reliant K. The highest mileage 6-passenger front-wheel drive car in America. Firm, quiet, built with advanced technology, and not a penny more than 81. The American way to get your money's worth.
Come on, one more. No. The championship of the entire civilized world?
I'll pass.
And the Michelob Light?
I'll serve.
Would good friends really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, consider it's Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
I thought you were tired.
Nope, just thirsty.
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
Pittsburgh Steelers, who have turned it around, leading the LA Rams 7-0 in the first quarter. Only a 28-yard punt by Mike Garris, so the Jets first down at their 38-yard line. And Todd to put it up. Last week's hero, Jerome Barkham, with the first down.
And he's intelligent. He got out of bounds. He got as much as he possibly could and then jumped out of bounds. I was talking about Todd wanting to work on the short game because it's easier to throw that short pass. 50, Joe Fettersfield is a linebacker. He's taking off. This is the delay pattern. The tight end lets the linebackers get depth. Todd just dumps it off. It's a short pass. Only went about 6 or 7 yards. Now 83 Barkham's getting all the yardage that he can. He picked up a first down and jumped out of bounds.
And it turns out to be a 22-yard advance. First down at the Baltimore 46-yard line. That's Jones in motion. McNeil stopped back behind the line. Freeman McNeil with no running room at all.
You can credit Donnell Thompson, the defensive left end, for getting some penetration and making sure that the running back had absolutely no place to go.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited. Colts go with a 3-4 alignment, 2nd and 10 for the Jets. And again, McNeil, and again he stopped.
You see the penetration by that defensive line of the Baltimore Colts, and they're just shutting off that running game. Because I think they take a look at Richard Todd, and they know that he's going to have difficulty throwing long. So they're going to take a look at the running game and try to stop the running game and force him to throw the ball short. Number 50 is Joe Fettersfield, playing the middle linebacking position in place of Ed Simonetti, who is out for the year with an injury. And he's just gliding along that line of scrimmage. See the penetration by the Baltimore Colt defensive line.
It is a 3rd down and 11. Todd completes for the first down at the 30. Again, it's Jerome Barkham. It was submarined by the free safety, number 25, Nesby Glasgow.
He was wide open, and Richard Todd really had something on that ball that time. Coming back, it doesn't look like he's really too affected by the broken rib, because he really zips that ball to Jerome Barkham and goes down and stops in that zone area downfield. Nobody near him, and they pick up another first down.
17-yard pass play. Jets first down at the Colt 30-yard line. 5:40 left. First quarter. No score. And now they go to the ground. Beautiful move by McNeil. McNeil takes all the way.
Wondering why they selected this man number 1 in the draft, you're going to see right here. Watch the move that he makes to the outside right here. Cuts back away from 4 Colt defensive men. Now it's a foot race, and he's got the quickness and the speed to get into the end zone for the score.
Freeman McNeil, 6 rushes, 41 yards. Pat Leahy puts it through. 5:29 left, first quarter here at Shea Stadium. It's the New York Jets 7 and the Baltimore Colts nothing.
You know how come Billy and I bought this Skill cordless drill?
How come, Dad?
When my dad made this horse for me, he used this Skill Saw circular saw. Still working fine. So we bought a Skill cordless drill. has the power to get through any job. And since it's a skill, we're going to keep it in the family a long, long time.
Skill.
And hard-hitting coverage by the New York Jets on the return by Anderson. Ron Crosby leading the assault.
5 plays, 62 yards, and you could color that Freeman McNeil 30-yard touchdown run, and what a great move he put on.
When McNeil was out during the course of the 5 weeks, he said he wanted to make sure the offensive linemen remember him. So every Friday at training camp, he would take all the linemen out for lunch, just so they would remember. Randy McMillan. He is hit for a loss. Lance Mell, second-year man out of Penn State, who leads the Jets in total tackles, coming in with 146. No one close in that department. New England Patriots now leading the St. Louis Cardinals 7-3. Cardinals beating the Colts last week 35-24.
Sam Cunningham scoring a touchdown for the Patriots to put them ahead of St. Louis. Right now, Burt Jones has got a situation where he's going to have to put the ball up in the air.
McMillan and Dixon are the running backs. Jones able to complete to Butler. Ray Butler stopped by Ken Troy.
Now that strong arm of Burt Jones helped him out there because he jumps out of the pocket because of the pressure by the New York defensive unit. 80 is Ray Butler going downfield, and he can see that his quarterback's in trouble right now, and he pushes off a Troy just a little bit, moves to the open spot, and Jones drills that ball right in the numbers. First down for the Baltimore Colts.
Ray Butler, a find in last year's draft, was taken on the 4th round. The 88th player selected, comes off an excellent rookie season, and has good credentials again here in the second year.
He's learned how to get open, push off the defense, and go the other way.
First down at the 30. Zachary Dixon could not get outside. Forced out by the combination of Holmes and Mell.
Jerry Holmes has been doing an outstanding job at that cornerback position, but you could see the New York Jet defense just flowing with the back, not giving him a seam to cut inside or not letting him get to the outside. Good play by the defense. Did pick up a couple of yards, though.
And you see those impressive Jet statistics, 3rd in the AFC in total defense. They came up with their 50th sack early in this first quarter with the rookie Ben Rudolph picking it up. 3rd down and 5. Randy McMillan stopped by Lance Mell.
And Randy McMillan is a hard-running fullback out of the University of Pittsburgh. He's got the size, about 230 pounds, and when he hits into the line, he hits with authority. I know that Mel made the tackle, but I can assure you on a cold day like today, Lance Mell felt that way.
Lance Mell had an outstanding game against the Colts 3 weeks ago. Correction, this is now the 3rd down play. 3rd and 2 for Baltimore. Some confusion on that handoff, and it cost Zachary Dixon. He ran into his own man.
There wasn't any confusion as far as Abdul Salam is concerned, number 74, because he was about 2 yards in the backfield. Here it is. They're going to try to run a quick trap up the middle, but the exchange was bad. The back ran into the guard who was pulling, and number 74, Salam, was there and made the hit. Now they're going to have to punt it away, and they haven't punted very well. The last one only went 28 yards because of the wind out here at Shea Stadium.
Mike Garrett got off to a good start this season. He's dropped off recently, and the wind not helping his cause here today. And just did get it off. Bruce Hopper says fair catch. The Jets will take over at the 27-yard line, but a penalty marker is down.
It's like a knuckleball trying to catch it out there. One of Hoyt Wilhelm's balls. He needs a big mitt to catch it.
The call against the Baltimore Colts, a 40-yard punt by Garrett that did show signs of the old flutter ball.
Well, he's fortunate that the Jets didn't have an all-out rush against, because he did have a trouble handling the football. And I think that's one of the reasons, because it's cold out there.
Number 52 and 54, offense, Illegal block above the waist. Defense. Penalties offset. Replay the down.
Dick Jorgensen with the call and offsetting penalties, so they will do it again.
And they'll get another opportunity to put the ball in the air. And for the punter, Mike Garrett, I don't think he wants to be out there on a day like today. This is not a kicker's day. See Mike McCormick conferring with Bert Jones, his quarterback, trying to figure out some way to get things rolling out there for that offensive unit of the Baltimore Colts.
The deep snap man for Baltimore is the second-year pro out of USC, Chris Foote. He's over the ball. Garrett now back at his 22.
Good kick. To be returned.
And again a penalty marker down. Fumbled by Hopper. And recovered by the Colts. But a flag on the play.
We're going to have to unpile all those bodies down there to find out what's going on. As you mentioned, there was a penalty flag on the play.
And a 47-yard punt by Garrett.
I just got through saying it wasn't a punter's day. He kicked a couple up of 28 yards, and that one he got a hold of.
The Jets leading it 7-0. 30-yard touchdown run by the rookie Freeman McNeil. We have 2:53 remaining in this first quarter. And the penalty upcoming against
51.
The Baltimore Colts.
While the ball was in the air.
Personal foul is called on number 51, a member of the Colts special team, Ricky Jones. There he is, 5-year man out of Tuskegee. And that is a costly penalty. Penalties have been killing the Colts among many problems they've had this season.
A lot of them are so very unnecessary. That's the problem. Unnecessary penalties by the Colts to keep putting them in a jam.
Right here, a fumble recovery is eradicated.
No foul. Blow to the head. 51 offense while the ball was in the air. 4th down.
Blow to the head. You cannot hit anybody above the shoulder pads.
Last week, the right linebacker, Barry Krause, picked up 3 costly penalties, including one for kicking a St. Louis Cardinal player that angered the coach, Mike McCormick. So here's Garrett again, his 3rd punt on this sequence. This time he's back at his 8-yard line. Here's Hopper. This time Bruce making sure, cradling that football. A short gain on the return. This time a 39-yard punt by Garrett. Sanders Shiver making the stop on Bruce Hopper. So the Jets will take over. A look at what is upcoming for the Jets, Miami, and Buffalo. And Len, you'd have to say the Jets have the more favorable schedule, although you got to play the games one by one. And who knows, but they play at Seattle next week, game that will be seen on NBC. Then at Cleveland.
Remember what problems they've had against Seattle. Miami's schedule is a tougher one. Philadelphia. Kansas City's playing well, and also Buffalo. So Miami's schedule.
Buffalo home for Washington today, and they lead at 7-0 in the first quarter. And a look at the rest of the Bills' schedule. They play at San Diego, at New England, and conclude with the Dolphins in Miami. So the schedule is on the side of the New York Jets. Colts have an injured player out. And we'll try to pick it up. We're screened out on that injury. But a timeout has been called. 2:41 left in this first quarter here at Windy Shea, and the Jets lead it 7-0.
Today's scouting is an opportunity for young people to learn about life and how to live it. Hi, I'm Ed Simonini of the Baltimore Colts, and this is my wife, Karen.
You know, here at this jamboree, there's a place for every kid, regardless of their age, race, creed, or what part of town they're from.
We both grew up in scouting, and we know the importance of scouting to everyone. You're helping to make...
Play resumes. The injured Baltimore player was Chris Foote, the deep snapper. And as you saw, The procedure penalty, an offside called on the Jets' Randy Rasmussen.
You know, Chris Foote being injured. Now, he may be able to come back in the ballgame. We don't know at the present time how serious the injury is.
False start, number 66. Offense. Still first down.
But he is the deep snapper, and that is a very important part of the specialties, particularly on a day like today.
Jets now first down and 15. Straight ahead move by Kevin Long. Out to the 40-yard line. Stacked up by the combination of Herb Orvis, the left defensive tackle, and the left side linebacker, Sanders Shiver. Kevin Long with his first carry of the day. Jets, of course, like to shuffle their running backs.
The Jets, of course, would love to get that running game going. They did when they scored on a 30-yard run by McNeil. Take a lot of heat off Richard Todd if that running game could go.
Again, Todd with the short reception. Freeman McNeil out at midfield.
Depends on where they spot that ball. It's very close to a first down. It looks like they may have it.
Combination of Mike Fultz, Joe Fetterspiel making the stop on McNeil.
Sure passes for Richard Todd. Their passes, he's only throwing it at the maximum 10 yards. And the wind is not going to be a factor in a situation like that. So that's why they want to get the running game going, to have the Baltimore defense look for the running game, then just dump it over the line of scrimmage to the backs.
And the Jets pick up the first down at the Baltimore 48. Jets go double tight end. Mickey Schuler has come on. Kevin Long inside the 45. Stopped by Nesby Glasgow and Herb Orvis.
Pittsburgh leading Los Angeles 14-0. The second touchdown was a pass from Bradshaw to Lynn Swan. Cincinnati ahead of Cleveland by the score of 14-0. The Bengals are off and running. They're hot. They're playing outstanding football. And Buffalo leading Washington 7-0 in the second quarter. Of course, that game is very important to these two teams playing out here this afternoon, particularly the Jets.
Second down and 5. Richard Todd is 3 for 5 thus far. Lots of time. Bobby Jones for the first down. Fetterspiel covering up on the play. And to this point, Todd's offensive line has protected him very well.
There wasn't anyone anywhere near him. He's rolling out to the right. And he's got Long out there as one of his protectors to help block in case anybody gets free. Look at that. Nobody around Richard Todd, and he's able to locate Jones, Bobby Jones, that is, all the way across the field. And he's trying to look for a place to go, but there isn't any. Does pick up a few yards, though.
And it's a first down for the Jets at the Colt 35-yard line. Ty running down first quarter.
Play pass.
Again, Todd with time. Incomplete. Kevin Long not able to hold on. Fetterspiel covering on the play. Richard Todd, who has really turned it around from a year ago when he led the NFL with 30 interceptions, has been picked off only 8 times thus far this season. He's completed 57%. He is the 4th-ranked quarterback in the AFC. He has not been intercepted the last 4 games. One of the major differences in this club.
That's it. He is the man. He is more consistent this year. Therefore, the New York Jets have been a lot more consistent.
Second and 10. 10 seconds left, first quarter. Again, the protection and the swing for McNeil. First down and more, but a penalty marker down.
You're going to have a penalty down because one of the wide receivers, I think it might have been Jones. Of course, that's easy to say. There's Lamb Jones out there, Bobby Jones. But I think it was Bobby Jones that was clipping on the play, trying to get back and help his back with a block, but he hit him from behind. Number 89, there it is, right there. Number 89 is Bobby Jones, and he did hit from behind. There's a case where he should never have taken a chance. That head must be around in front of the defensive man. It was not in that case.
Illegal block above the waist, number 89. Offense, still second down.
Number 89, Bobby Jones trying to help out, but he's blocking him. So you can see right there, he hits him right in the back and knocks him down, and the official happened to be standing right next to him.
Larry Brazil, the right cornerback, took the hit from Jones. In a second and 15, 2 seconds left, first quarter. Hopper to the 33. Barry Krause with the tackle, and that wraps up this first quarter. At the end of one here at Shea on a 30-yard touchdown run by Freeman McNeil. The New York Jets 7 and the Baltimore Colts nothing.
No ego, Reggie. What's this?
My Panasonic portable color TV. I'm using it for life.
And this?
That's my Panasonic 1.5-inch travel vision, part of my travel kit.
And this?
Now how'd that Panasonic get there?
And this?
The room needed a view, so I got this big Panasonic.
Reggie, why?
Only Panasonic plays as brilliantly as I do.
Panasonic TV, so lifelike, you feel you're part of the picture.
Marv Albert, Len Dawson, we welcome you back to Shea Stadium in New York. Pittsburgh now leading L.A. by the count of 21-0. This is the first meeting between these two clubs since Super Bowl 14 back in 1980.
Pat Hayden was hurt in that ball game once again. They expect Pastorini in. Seems to be what's been going on all year for the Los Angeles Rams. Quarterback problem.
3rd and 7 for Todd. Beautiful reception. Scott Gerking picking up the first down. Esby Glasgow on the tackle. For further update on what is going on around the NFL, here's Brian.
Well, Marv, Kenny Anderson and the Bengals continue to enjoy the kind of season they've been dreaming about in Cincinnati. Anderson has now thrown his 3rd touchdown pass of the game, and the Bengals lead the Browns 21-0 in the second. Marv?
All right, Brian. Jets have picked up the first down on the move once again at the Baltimore 23-yard line. Long and McNeil out of the eye.
Looks like Todd's taking a lot of time. He's probably checking off at the line of scrimmage.
McNeil with a 3-yard advance. This will set a 2nd and 7.
I think that was a check off at the line of scrimmage. And whenever you see a quarterback looking particularly out wide to the wide receivers and yelling, and when you take into account he's got a broken rib, chances are he's checking off. And Todd does not want to check off too often because it has to hurt him to bark out the signals. It wasn't until Thursday or Friday this week where the wide receivers could actually hear him.
And Todd had a good practice yesterday out of Hofstra. Looking sharp here today. 7 for 10, 75 yards. Overthrew long and was off. Bruce Laird should have had it.
Oh, he could have been running right now down the left sideline. He didn't expect it. He did slip trying to stop on the turf down there. Todd going back to pass. Throws the ball with a lot of velocity and right through the hands of Kevin Long. Now right here, that should have been caught, and he knows it. You can see right now that Laird says, oh my goodness, I could have been going the other way, and maybe the only man who had a chance to tackle me would have been Richard Todd, the quarterback. Chances are he wouldn't have been able to do that. As you can see right there, he had a clear sailing down the left sideline.
Bruce Laird, who was fantasizing about picking up his 3rd intercept of the season. Unable to do so. 3rd down, 7. Incomplete. Hopper not able to hang on. He was double covered. Shiver and Glasgow on the coverage of Hopper. And so Pat Leahy will come on.
Good throw by Richard Todd. Now he gets back there, gets set, gets planted, steps and fires the ball, and the ball is in the hands of Harper. And it could be because of the cold weather, because what happens a lot of times you start worrying about your hands being cold and you forget to do the thing that's important, that is to concentrate on catching the football.
37-yard attempt. Leahy has hit 15 of the last 16. Make it 16 of 17. Pat Leahy, who has been on fire, providing the Jets with a 10-0 lead. 13:25 left. Second quarter.
Think about the new individual retirement accounts. But there is a way to escape all this confusion. It's by calling or visiting your full-service bank. For professional guidance with your financial future, we've got the answers.
Now, saving certificates direct from Chrysler make it easier to own a Mitsubishi.
Jets in front by the count of 10-0. Richard Todd looks to be sharp, but as you mentioned, weather could be a factor. Receivers having difficulty hanging on.
They've dropped the ball a couple of times. The punters have had a difficult time kicking the football, and the weather is going to be a factor, particularly, I think, when the sun goes down here in an hour or so, it's going to be a lot colder. The wind is going to whip up a lot more. It's going to be tougher on all the players out there. When you see them blowing on their hands and worrying about their hands getting cold, you know they're concerned about something that they shouldn't be.
Matt Leahy, who drilled the 37-yard field goal, puts one in the end zone. Nowhere for Zachary Dixon to go. And the Colts will take over at their 20-yard line. Well, Pat Leahy having no difficulty at all with the swirling wind thus far here at Shea. Here's a look at David Humm.
Which you can see of him.
Yes.
I told you it's cold out there.
Well, quarterbacks always take that.
I know, but he played at Nebraska. He should be, he's been used to cold weather like this.
He was signed as a free agent this week. Greg Landry going down, suffering a back injury in a most unusual manner. Jones with lots of time and gets it out to Butler. Ray Butler with a first down and more out of the 44-yard line. Greg Landry, who had been the backup for Burt Jones, suffered a back injury by picking up his daughter.
Yes, I understand that. Burt Jones is strong. He's strong-armed. Play pass, he was actually looking to his left for Roger Carr. He was well covered. He came back to his secondary receiver, and he really drills that ball. You really got to get a good, tight release on that football so that you get a lot of good spin on it to cut through the wind that's gushing down here.
Zach Dixon stopped across the 45 following the 24-yard hookup between Butler and Jones. Greg Buttle was there. They spotted at the 45-yard line. That'll make it a 2nd and 9 for the Colts.
And they did get that running game going on that play, so now Burt Jones once again is in a passing situation, something that he does not want to be in. He would like to pick up 3 or 4 yards on a running play so that the defense can think about 2 things, the run and the pass. Now the Jets are only thinking about one thing, and that's the pass.
And as a result, Ron Crosby in the middle between Buttle and Bell. Joe Flacco all over Randy McMillan.
Outstanding play by 73 Joe Klecko. He has penetration. Look, no one touched him. He is 4 yards deep in the backfield, and there is absolutely no place for Randy McMillan to go, and he goes down. I guess there's one place for him to go, and that's down to the turf. Now it's going to be about a 3rd, 14 or 15 situation for Burt Jones, and he's going to have to put the ball up in the air.
Now the Jets with the extra defensive back. The nickel man is Kirk Springs, first-year man out of Miami of Ohio. 3rd down and 14. It is incomplete. Don McCauley not able to hold on. And again, Burt Jones receiving exceptional protection.
And he really fired that football, and I could see why McCauley had a difficult time holding on. It was low and away, but Burt Jones really putting a lot on the ball. You know, you're talking about a baseball pitcher. They have change-up and different pitches. Burt Jones is throwing one thing, and that's the fastball, the hard one.
Mike Garrett, as you see, averaging only 32.7. And he'll take it from a new deep snapper, Ray Donaldson, replacing Chris Foote, who was shaken up in the first quarter. No problem with the snap. And a good punt. Harper avoids the tackle. Brazil. And out to the 25-yard line. So a 40-yard punt by Garrett. And the Jets take over with 4 minutes gone by. Second quarter.
There's a company in Toledo, Ohio, who makes an amazing product for your car's engine. It can help improve your car's mileage, give you surer starts, even help your car run better. And the cost of a set is about the same as the price of an oil change. A revolutionary new device? No, it's a fresh Champion spark plug. There is probably nothing that can do so much for your car's engine for so little. Champion, the world's #1 seller.
This Bud's for that first day on the job.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of music's coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Start your evening out with the comedy of Laverne and Shirley and Company, Monday through Saturday at 7. Your favorite shows are on Channel 3.
Well, we mentioned David Humm of Nebraska a moment ago, and the Cornhuskers go up against Clemson in the Orange Bowl here on NBC in what may well be for the national championship, particularly with Penn State covering Pittsburgh yesterday. Big lineup of full football here on NBC. Todd unleashing, and it is picked off with a penalty marker down. Brazil with the intercept. But a flag on the play.
That ball went end over end or something. I don't know whether somebody tipped it or not, but definitely it was not a spiral.
And the Colts are upset. Nesby Glasgow in a rage. The Jets got a big break earlier. Bruce Hopper fumbling forward. And it was recovered by Lamb Jones. Let's see what the call is here.
Interference, number 47, defense. First
It
down.
is Larry Brazil on the interference.
Richard Todd going back to throw, and he gets rid of this football, and the ball went end over end. Nobody touched it. It was just a lousy throw. But right there, they're calling 47 Larry Brazil for interference against Jones. Another big break for the Jets. They've had all the breaks going their way so far in this ballgame.
Tom Newton. A circle pattern by Newton, cutting right and then left. Hit by the combination of Donnell Thompson and Sanders Shiver. Let's take another look at that ball thrown by Richard Todd. Picked off by Brazil, but the penalty called on Brazil.
Well, it's tough to see from that particular shot whether he pushed off or not. The important thing is for the Jets is that the officials did call it, and they still had the football.
Second down and 6 at the 40. This is McNeil. And a flag thrown. Freeman McNeil stopped by Donnell Thompson. Sanders Shiver, Joe Fetterspill also involved. Cincinnati now in front, 21-0, second quarter.
Ken Anderson having an outstanding day once again. New England still leading St. Louis 7-3 second quarter. Buffalo's extended their lead over Washington 14-0 in the second quarter. Roland Hooks a touchdown. No score between Tampa Bay and New Orleans first quarter. Minnesota leading Green Bay 14-0.
Offside, number 88, defense, still second down.
Number 88 is Herb Orvis, the Colts defensive left tackle, the 10-year man out of Colorado. So a 2nd and 1 for the Jets.
Things go wrong, they go wrong in bunches. They are, at least for the Baltimore Colts.
Freeman McNeil close to a first down. You may recall in the first meeting of the season between the Jets and Baltimore, it was a game through the second quarter, but penalties just destroyed the Colts and took them out of it. Jets coming from behind to go on to what turned out to be a blowout.
The same thing is happening this afternoon for the Baltimore Colts. They're making penalties. They're really hurting themselves. It's not so much the Jets are doing so much damage, although McNeil did come up with an outstanding run for a touchdown. But the Colts have had penalties. They just lost the ball via an interception because of an interference call.
Third and less than a yard. And the first down picked up by Scott Durking.
Number 33, Kevin Long, is still rolling on the ground. Looks like he is bothered with something. He is hurt. He is down. Here is the play once again. 33 is Kevin Long making a block on the safety man. Durkee going inside of him, picking up the first down. But for Kevin Long, he's paying for it because that is him on the turf right now. Kevin Long, number 33.
And Long, the backup to Tom Newton, who has played well in replacing the injured Mike Augustiniak. Both the Jets and the Colts have been hard hit by injuries. The tough game physically for the Jets was 2 weeks ago in Foxborough. Right here, though, let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WSTM TV, Syracuse.
Marv Albert, Len Dawson from Shea Stadium in New York. New York Jets lead the Baltimore Colts 10-0. 30-yard touchdown run by the rookie Freeman McNeil in the first quarter. An early second, 37-yard field goal by Pat Leahy. A victory today would assure the Jets their first winning season since 1969. And good news for both the Jets and the Dolphins. Washington getting on the board, now trailing Buffalo by the score of 14-7. Buffalo coming in at 7-5 on the season. The Jets in Miami at 7-4-1.
Number 33 is Kevin Long going off the field. Green Bay is on the board. They're still trailing Minnesota by the score of 14-7. That's in the second quarter.
A year ago at this time, the New York Jets had a record of 3-9 on the way to going 4-12. And they are headed for only their fourth winning season in the history of this Jet franchise. First down play, Freeman McNeil out to midfield, and L. Thompson, number 99, and 54, Sanders Shiver combined on the stop.
Baltimore was looking for the run on that play because they really jammed the inside with number 54, Sanders Shiver. As also you mentioned, 99 is Thompson. Shut down that run on first down and force Richard Todd into a situation on second down where he has to throw the football.
And the Jets to the line, led by center Joe Fields. 2nd and 7 at the 50. McNeil, short pickup. I mentioned earlier that Freeman McNeil has been very nice to the offensive linemen. Well, Richard Todd, who was delighted with the kind of protection he received against Miami last week, presented 8 members of the offensive line with engraved watches for
Richard
protection.
did that. How
Yes,
nice of
very
him.
nice gesture.
What did he present? I wonder when he got the rib broken.
Yes. He took only one hard hit last week from McNeil of Miami, but he was well protected. 3rd down and 5, 6 defensive backs for the Colts. Todd going sideline and completes. Bobby Jones with the stutter step on the sideline. He beat Kim Anderson, the second-year man out of Arizona State, and it's a Jet first down.
That time Richard Todd had something on the ball. He gets back, and once again you're talking about good protection. He did have good protection, but he fired that ball out in a hurry. And 42 was Derek Hatchett, was the man who was trying to strip him of the football. But Bobby Jones came up with it, and another first down for the New York Jets.
First down at the 32-yard line. McNeil and Newton are the running backs. Bobby Jones again, covered by Derek Hatchett.
And Hatchett is giving him room, so they're taking advantage of it and running in front of him. What's going to happen, I'm sure, later on, Jones is going to come back to Richard Todd and say, hey, he's now playing me tight. We can go up top. This time, good protection. Comes back and fires the ball out to the sidelines. You can see right there that Bobby Jones has a step or so on the defensive man. It's complete. It's also another first down for the New York Jets.
First down at the 21-yard line. Bobby Jones, who came up with one of the big plays of the year earlier in the season, recovering a fumble and running for a touchdown to beat Buffalo, has been an important man all season long. The swing for Newton. Nowhere. Tom Newton jarred yard by number 72, Mike Fultz.
Well, that time was a screen pass, but Fultz played it all the way, did an outstanding job. Let's go to New York now and Brian Gumbel.
Okay, Lenny, thank you. In Cleveland, the Browns are mounting their first real drive of the day. Brian Sipe has it working, completes this one to Ozzie Newsome. They're now down to the 10, but still trailing 21-0. Marv?
Thank you, Brian, and our congratulations to Brian Gumbel, who will be one of the co-hosts of the Today Show starting in January.
Brian does an outstanding job.
It is a first and 14. Freeman McNeil down to the 16-yard line. Sanders Shiver making the stop. I know that Brian conferred with you looking for advice whether he should make the move from sports to the Today Show. And Lenny's advice to Brian just a couple of weeks ago, I'm told, was take it. It'll be good on the resume. And true story, Brian said, well, Lenny thought so.
Yes.
It is a 3rd down and 5. The Jets at the Baltimore 16-yard line. Todd with time. Scott Durkin. Fumble on the play. And the Jets recover. A hard hit to jar the ball loose from Durkin. And the crowd responding to the official indication of that Jet recovery.
They are living right. Todd makes a good throw and a good catch by Durkin, but the ball is going to come loose, and it looked like Baltimore was going to have it. Right there, he's getting nailed. Right there, the ball comes loose, as you can see, and it's floating around. And the Jets are going to come up with it. The breaks have been going all the Jets' way so far in this ball game in the first half. There's something that's not going the way of the New York Jets.
That's Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones, number 89, who's made a couple of fine receptions in this first half for the New York Jets, is down. And bear in mind also that Wesley Walker is not able to play, or hasn't been able to play, because of an injury.
Jerome Markham on the recovery of that Scott Durkin fumble. A timeout called. 5:18 left. First half, Jets up 10-0.
To help you buy a new car, Chrysler is holding 81 sticker prices on its Omni and Horizon Misers and Customs, its Aries and Reliant K 2- and 4-door base models. 82 cars at 81 prices. And now at participating dealers, Chrysler savings certificates save you $300 to $1,000 on most other new 81 and 82 cars and trucks, depending on model. For 82 cars at 81 prices, or savings certificates worth $300 to $1,000, come to Chrysler.
And here at Shea, a sea of green hats throughout this capacity crowd off that fumble recovery by Markham.
I've noticed that a lot of the green has come out here in the last several weeks.
First and goal at the 8. This is McNeil inside the 5. Mike Fultz and the strong safety Bruce Laird combining on the play. Bobby Jones, who was shaken up a moment ago, is all right. He was replaced for the 1 down by Kurt Sohn. There's Jones, number 89, as the Jets huddle up. So Jones is right back.
It's good news for the New York Jets. As I said before, Wesley Walker is not playing because of injury. They've got a lot of injuries to their secondary, but their concern right now is trying to get into the end zone.
Todd is 10 for 16, 105 yards. Just short of the goal line. Shivers, 54, and Hatchett, number 42, able to keep him away.
Well, it's a good thing for Baltimore that Sanders and Shiver came up to make the hit, because I think he might have been able to drag Hatchett into the end zone. Right here, you're going to see the hit by 54, and it's a good shot, too. That's what happens down on the goal line. That's what football's all about. A lot of hitting going on down there.
It is a 3rd and goal, and the crowd responding as the Jets go double tight end. Steve Stevens has come on to join Jerome Markham. A fumble, but recovered by Kevin Long. Nesby Glasgow, the free safety on the hit, so the Baltimore Colts able to hold of the New York Jets, and Pat Leahy will come on.
Good defensive stand by the Baltimore Colts. They could not afford to let them get in for 6 points, and that was a terrific hit by the free safety 25, Nesby Glasgow, coming up, making penetration and a good solid tackle. The ball was shaken loose from Kevin Long, but he did recover it. And good news for the Jets, Kevin Long is back in the ballgame. He left it a little while ago.
21-yard attempt, and Leahy puts it right through. So Pat Leahy continues his magnificent string. He has now hit 17 of his last 18, and the Jets lead the Colts 13-0.
It's lightweight. It's portable. It's virtually indestructible. You can hammer on it, saw on it, sand on it, paint on it, drive a screw on it, cut a pipe on it, clean a door on it, fix a picture on it, or a wheelbarrow, or a chair, or a bicycle. You can even have your lunch on it. The incredible Black & Decker workmate. When America has a job to do, it reaches for Black & Decker.
Deaf people can't hear, but they can work. Blind people can't see, but they can work. There are over 15 million disabled Americans with the ability.
Getting set to kick off to the Baltimore Colts. Well, the Jets feared a letdown here this afternoon. They have received several breaks. It has gone their way, although the wind not going their way now. Pat Leahy has to put it up on the tee.
We said the wind was swirling down there, and that's a pretty good indication. Baltimore's got to do something. They got to put the ball in the air. They only had 61 total yards in the first half. They're going to have to do it from the 20-yard line because that was out of the end zone.
Another solid kickoff by Leahy.
Look what's happening on first down. Colts 1.8 yards. That's not good enough. The Jets have 202 yards. That's the difference in the ballgame. The Jets have gotten all the breaks also. Baltimore, and I think Burt Jones, they got to start taking chances. They got to put the ball up in the air.
All right, Butler right, Carr left, McCauley and McMillan now, the running backs. Play action, and Jones fires. He's got Butler wide open again. Ray Butler stopped by Darrell Ray out at midfield. So Butler with his third reception, and he's been wide open each time.
Yes, he has. And Burt Jones knows, and the Baltimore Colts know that they've got to go to the air, makes things happen. They're down 13-0. Number 80 is Butler going in there, finding an open spot in that zone, and that ball is drilled to him. Comes up, now he's trying to look for some running room. He doesn't find it. Ray and Schroy are there to make the tackle, but they are at midfield.
Chant of defense from this capacity crowd at Shea. And a sack, the second for the Jets, number 1 for Gastineau. Mark Gastineau now leading the National Football League in sacks. He moves a half sack in front of his partner, Joe Klecko, 16.5 on the season.
I guess I'm not the only one that knows that they have to throw the ball. So do the Jets, and they can really tee off. 99, Gastineau takes an inside rush on that tackle, gets to Burt Jones, and you can see how important it is to a defensive lineman to make a sack.
Add 2 to that total. Jets leading the National Football League with 51 sacks on the season. 2-minute warning has been provided. So we'll be back here at Shea in just a moment. The Jets leading the Colts 13-0.
Michelob brings you the 7-day weekend. Boy meets girl style. Meeting over a Michelob can show that special someone just how special you are. So don't just make a date for the weekend. Set the mood anytime with a smooth and mellow taste of Michelob.
I knew she couldn't refuse an invitation like this.
Put a little weekend in your week. Yeah.
At JCPenney Auto Centers, we won't steer you wrong. We will steer you to the amazing JCPenney Mileage Maker XP All-Season Steel-Belted Radial for great traction in any road conditions. And right now, save $40 to $100 on a set of 4. The Mileage Maker XP with the unique interlock block tread. Season in, season out. The only tire you need. Only at JCPenney.
JCPenney Auto Centers. We won't steer you wrong.
James Garner's dealing cards again as Brett Maverick.
I'm a gambler.
It's a special 2-hour premiere Tuesday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
Just for the record, the Jets have 50 sacks, the official score here at Shea, not crediting the rookie Ben Rudolph with a sack earlier. So that sack a moment ago by Gastineau, the Jets' first of the day. Penalty marker down, second and long, and Jones fires, incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Reese McCall.
That yellow flag down there is going to be a holding penalty against the Baltimore Colts, and they are digging deeper and deeper. They're creating the problems themselves with penalties. I'm assuming I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't assume that it's against the Baltimore Colts.
However, you are correct, Lance.
Cincinnati leading Cleveland 21-7 in the second quarter. New England ahead of St. Louis 7-6 in the second quarter. Second quarter score, Washington coming back. They've tied Buffalo at 14.
And here's the referee, Dick Jorgensen.
We have a multiple foul, ineligible downfield, number 53, offense, decline, holding, number 79, offense, accepted, second down.
Well, they got him on 2 counts. Randy Vanderveer, the right tackle, called for the hold, and the center, number 53, Ray Donaldson, was the ineligible receiver.
I've heard of a tackle eligible, but I've never heard of a center eligible. New Orleans leading Tampa Bay 7-0 in the first quarter.
Second and very long. Don McCauley across the 40-yard line. So the 11-year veteran out of North Carolina, who hails from nearby Garden City, stopped by Jesse Johnson and Greg Buttle. And that will set up a third down and much to go.
Well, you can see the Baltimore with 1:27 and counting down. They're not even in their 2-minute drill because they have such a long distance to go. I would look for the New York Jets to call timeout if Baltimore doesn't make it.
It is third and about 20. Look out, Bert Jones able to scramble away, chased by Salam. And that will conclude matters for this Baltimore drive. Kurt Springs following Jones over at the sideline and able to cover up.
Bert Jones went down to make sure that the clock keeps going, but I'm surprised that the Jets didn't call timeout. You never know what's going to happen on a punt because the way this wind is blowing out here this afternoon.
The clock is running down to 35 seconds left of the half, and a bad punt again by Garrett.
Flag is down.
Garrett not getting much on it, and a penalty marker is down.
Being very kind. It looked like he kicked that one with his knee. It didn't go very high. There was no hang time and no distance.
It is a 26-yard punt for Garrett.
Here's an update in the NFL second quarter. Buffalo 14, Washington 14.
Crowd responding to the score announced on the public address that the Redskins have tied the Bills at 14.
Back they go. For the New York Jets, though, that penalty really doesn't have a whole lot of significance with 27 seconds remaining in the half.
Holding, number 47, receiving team, while the ball was in the air. First down.
Jerry Holmes of the Jets called for that penalty. 27 seconds remaining, and the Jets will look to run it out.
Ordinarily, you'd see the quarterback falling on the ball, but not this time. Richard Todd's going to give it to somebody.
This is McNeil out near the 20-yard line. And 20 seconds and counting remaining. Bruce Laird, Sanders Shiver combine on the stop, and that will be the final play of this first half. The Jets with a 13-0 lead on a 30-yard touchdown run by Freeman McNeil. And 2 field goals by Pat.
Walking right. We got it right.
We haven't done it in the first half.
Or else this man, Mike McCormick, may be receiving plays from Robert Ursay.
Well, I understand that's happened a couple of weeks ago. It didn't happen last week. Ursay was very quiet. Walt Michaels, the head coach of the New York Jets, is the man, along with his offensive coordinator, Joe Walton, calling the plays. He's probably telling Joe Klecko, number 73 there. Now, what I want you to do this half, Joe, is tackle that man with a 7 on his number or his jersey. Whenever he has the ball, you go tackle him.
And Walt Michaels and the Jets have turned it around after that disastrous start. The Jets, the hottest club in the National Football League. They've lost only once the last 9 weeks. They've won 4 in a row. And what a turn of events. Walt Michaels now has to be considered a candidate for Coach of the Year in the AFC, along with Dan Reeves of Denver and Forrest Gregg of Cincinnati. The Jets play at Seattle next Sunday, the last team to beat the New York Jets. That game to be telecast here on NBC. Underway second half, and another great kick by Pat Leahy, allowing no run back. So the Baltimore Colts will come out 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. Burt Jones, who has had excellent success over the years against the Jets. In fact, he's won 9 of 13, completing 65%, throwing for 23 touchdowns in 13 games, but to this point has been held in check. Jones with Randy McMillan and Zachary Dixon at running back. Throwing on first down, look out. It is Mark Gastineau's second sack of the day.
Well, I guess the entire defensive line was listening to Walt Michaels on the sidelines when they said, when number 7 has the football, go after him and bring him down. That was a play-action pass, and the defense would have none of it. But you can see the center backing up, and the offensive guards are backing up. So, you know, that negates any play action in the backfield for a quarterback. If they're not going to block aggressively against that defensive line, there's no sense in even faking the ball to a back.
It is a second down and 14. Zachary Dixon, nowhere to go. Hit for a loss by the combination of Gastineau and Rudolph. Ben Rudolph, the rookie out of Long Beach State, replacing the injured Marty Lyons today. And that New York sack exchange coming to life here at the start of the second half. The Jets and Miami going into today's play, records of 7-4-1. Miami will play Philadelphia tomorrow night. Buffalo at 7-5, and Buffalo and Washington are tied at 14 in their ball game. Penalty marker down. Much motion, both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Number 99, Gastineau, started, came back, and then went again. I don't know if he was drawn offsides, but he was definitely offsides when the ball was snapped. It's going against the New York Jets.
The Baltimore Colt penalties have been very costly.
Encroachment, number 99, defense, still third down.
Mark Gastineau thought, I like that sacking the quarterback. I think I'll do it again, but he forgot to wait until the ball was snapped.
Gastineau up front with Salam, Rudolph, and Klecko, Buttle, and Bell, the linebackers. Jets have the extra defensive backs in the lineup. It is third down, 15.
He doesn't have a chance. Doesn't have a chance.
That is number 1 on the day for Joe Klecko.
There were 3 New York Jet defensive linemen back there with Burt Jones. When he has to go back and throw, and the defensive linemen know it, you can see what's going to happen. The New York sack exchange. They were just blowing back there. They were flying. There were 3 defensive linemen back there when Burt Jones got back in the pocket and tried to set up. He didn't have a chance. Take a look at it here. 76 Rudolph, he's there. 99 Gastineau's back there, and number 73 is Joe Klecko, who finally gets his arms around Jones and brings him to the turf.
So Klecko with 17 sacks on the season. The punt by Garrett, taken by Hopper.
Another flag down.
Bruce Hopper with unbelievable balance. But a penalty marker down. We'll have to wait and see what that flag is all about. It appeared that Hopper would be hauled down, but somehow able to remain on his feet. A 37-yard punt, and here's a 46-yard return for Hopper down inside the 1.
And he's going to display tremendous balance coming down now inside the 15, the 10, right here. Now he keeps those legs moving, goes all the way down to the 1-yard line, or about the 1-foot line. The penalty was against Baltimore, so it's going to be the Jets' ball on the 1-foot line. As number 42, Bruce Harper, makes a brilliant return.
It is Barry Krause called for the penalty. Barry Krause, the outside linebacker, in with that call, so the Jets first and goal from the 1-foot line. Kevin Long stopped by Hosea Taylor and Ed Smith.
This is really putting the heat on that Baltimore defensive unit. The first time the Jets get a hold of the football, they are on the 1-foot line, and they actually have 4 shots to make it in. That ball can't be much closer to the white line of the end zone than it is right now.
And the Jets will go full house backfield. Tom Newton, Kevin Long, Scott Durking, along with the double tight end Steve Stevens, a one-time Baltimore Colt, doubling up with Jerome Barkham.
He's wide open. Long is wide open. Wide open. That time Richard Todd just threw a bad ball because 33 Kevin Long was all by himself in the end zone. He threw it behind him.
He beat the combination of Smith and Fettersfield as you take another look.
He was so wide open. Look at it. He had him completely turned around in the end zone.
It is 3rd and goal. 1 foot away. This is McNeil. Touchdown, but a flag is down.
Against Baltimore. It'll be a touchdown for the New York Jets.
Offside, defense, decline. That sounds good. 6 points.
Freeman McNeil with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the day, 2nd of his NFL career, and the Jets go up by the score of 19-0.
Right up the middle on the right side, McNeil going into the end zone. He only needed about a foot or a half a foot for the touchdown. If you get any movement by that offensive line against the defensive line, he's going to get in. That's what happens. He could score. No.
All right, a little sucker action here.
Bruce Laird made a tackle and might have been able to get into the end zone.
Pat Ryan, the holder, ended up booting it through the end zone. So the Jets lead it 19-0.
Posing for Olympus, professional model Cheryl Teagues. 5 amateur photographers behind the Olympus OM10 for the first time. OM10, the 35mm automatic that leaves nothing to chance, leaves you free to focus and shoot. And look, the actual pictures these 5 amateurs took. All 100 of them, taken with the Olympus OM10.
They're incredible.
Well, you can't take a bad picture, Cheryl.
Neither can you with Olympus OM10.
Changing your own oil and filter regularly can make a world of difference when you're about to go on a long trip, especially if you want to leave on time. That's why Valvoline markets a complete line of fine quality products for your engine. Valvoline is engineered to help prevent heat buildup and oil breakdown in today's higher revving engines. Valvoline congratulates the Columbia crew, team, and the thousands of Americans who played an important part in making one of our country's proudest moments happen.
Arkansas having trouble getting out. USC with the swing. It's all over.
But it's just the beginning. Next Saturday, the powerful UCLA Bruins battle the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame on the home of great college basketball, NBC Sports.
On that last placement attempt, the deep man guy, deep snapper guy, Bingham got away with a good snap, but it was bumped by Pat Ryan. This is Kim Anderson. And a penalty marker down again. It has been a very penalty-happy third quarter. We have 3 minutes gone by, and the Jets now leading it by the score of 19-0. With that missed extra point, Pat Leahy's string of conversions has stopped. He had hit 30 in a row, including the earlier placement on the McNeil touchdown in the first quarter.
Ball leading on the run back, number 52, offense, first down.
Again, the penalty called on the Baltimore Colts. Backup linebacker Ed Smith, the guilty man. First down for Baltimore inside the 10.
As I said, for the Baltimore Colts, they are creating their own problem with these penalties.
Key play on that Jet touchdown drive. 46-yard return by Bruce Hopper. Randy McMillan not able to come up with it. McMillan looking upfield before the reception was made.
When things go wrong, they go wrong. You can't put a ball any better than that. It was a screen pass, and he hit him. Buffalo now leading Washington 21-14 in the third quarter. Roland Hooks on a run scored his second touchdown for the Buffalo Bills in that ball game. A very important one, I might add, for the Buffalo Bills.
18-yard run by Hooks, the man who came up with that deflected pass in the final seconds last week against New England.
How's this? Burt Jones going to pass again. He's backed up to the 10-yard line. He's not going to. He should have.
Zachary Dixon stopped by Mark Gastineau. Oh, the old quarterback doing a little second guessing here.
Well, after he took off, and I saw the 99 Gastineau was about to gobble up the halfback. Here he is, 99 Gastineau. He just throws that guard aside and grabs the back around the waist, making sure of a sure tackle, and takes him on back toward the goal line. I said, that's as far as you're going to go, Mr. Dixon.
Third down 12 for the Colts. Back at their 8-yard line. The Jets leading it 19-0.
Could be intercepted. Oh, my goodness. Mel says, I could have been into the end zone. The ball hit him right on the stomach, but he didn't see the football. Jones unloading that ball, trying to get it to his back in a hurry because of the pressure. Back in the pocket. Look at this defensive lineman tee off. Salam coming back. This was going to be a screen pass, but right there, Mel had a shot at the ball, couldn't come up with it.
Lance will be running that one back in his mind all week long. Lance Mel has had an outstanding season, but not able to come up with the easy one. And here's Mike Garrett, who has had a very rough afternoon, and another short punt. Here's Hopper. Hopper tripped up at the 45-yard line by Zachary Dixon. Had Dixon not made contact, Bruce Hopper would have been gone. 4 minutes gone by, third quarter. The Jets to the offense again. They lead the Colts 19-0.
Radio Shack makes Christmas dreams come true. Whether it's on the track or off, or on maneuvers, your kids control all the action with our incredible radio control toys. With an easy-to-operate transmitter, drive a race car, put a motorcycle through its paces, or even control a robot. Excitement for kids and grown-ups, too. 11 different fun-filled radio-controlled action toys priced $11.95 to $69.95. Only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
I don't want
about you driving at night without a flashlight in your glove compartment and energizers in the flashlight.
Of all leading brands, nothing outlasts the Energizer from Everready. Nothing outsnaps it. Nothing outadds, outwalks, outplays, outtapes, outshines, outlasts it. Nothing.
I could be here all night. Glad Mom just put energizers in the flashlight.
Energizer.
Long life.
Energize me.
Here's why Burt Jones is getting rid of that ball in a hurry. 99 is Gastineau, just throws the tackle aside, Vanderveer. Now, Burt doesn't even stay around to help him stay on his feet. I think that what Gastineau wanted to do, Marv, was to get a hand on him so he wouldn't fall down. But Jones says, I'm going to stay away from you as much as I possibly can.
So the Jets first down at the Baltimore 45-yard line. This is McNeil. Back to the line, Donnell Thompson, Sanders Shiver combined to make the stop. A reminder Saturday on NBC Sports World, two undefeated heavyweights, terrible Tim Witherspoon and Alfonso Ratliff will battle it out, a live 10-rounder from Atlantic City, New Jersey, plus champions of the East meet champions of the West in the U.S.-China women's dual gymnastics meet. That's next Saturday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC's Sports World. Second down 10. That is Schuler in motion. Bobby Jones could not come up with the underthrow. Good rush by Barry Krause, the right side linebacker.
They had the blitz on. They had two linebackers coming, and I'm surprised they haven't done more of this because here you have a quarterback with a broken rib and a bad ankle. I'd put all the heat on him I possibly could. That time they came with two linebackers, and they forced Todd to get rid of the ball much sooner than he wanted to. All right, how about New Orleans? George Rogers on an 8-yard run. They now lead Tampa Bay 14-0.
Well, Phillips doing it last week to the Houston Oilers.
Looking for two in a row.
Richard Todd is now 12 of 19, 108 yards. Todd able to rifle it to Jones. Bobby Jones has been the primary receiver, but Todd is hurt. He comes away hobbling.
Well, he's got a bad ankle. You might remember that coming into the ball game, but that time he stepped and threw the ball, and I'm sure what happened was a defensive man either stepped on his toe or he rolled into a defensive lineman. But he did rifle that football. 14, Todd coming back in the pocket. Throws a shot to his receiver, and you don't see what happened to Richard Todd other than the fact that after the pass he was hobbling. But I'm sure he's going to be all right.
So the Jets first down at the Baltimore 32-yard line. McNeil diving inside the 30. Todd is playing with the flak jacket to protect the fractured rib. Also suffered a sprained ankle last week. Took one real solid hit last week by the Miami Dolphins. I thought the Dolphins were actually very kind. And some clubs would really rack up the quarterback.
You actually think that they would do that intentionally? I know they would. That's like a fighter. If they see blood, they're going to that shot.
McNeil again. And a short pickup. Freeman McNeil, who missed 5 weeks with a sprained foot, had been going very well at the time as re-entered the Jet lineup and has picked up where he left off. McNeil to the sidelines along with Newton, Scott Durkee, and Bruce Hopper now in the backfield with a third down and about 4 upcoming.
This is a situation where they like to get Harper in the ball game because he's such an outstanding pass receiver. And generally a linebacker has to guard him.
Good second effort by Durkin. First down for the Jets. Durkin. Ball down by Laird. Colts missing tackles.
Poor tackling by the Baltimore Colts, but you got to give number 25, Durkin, credit for the run. Now, misdirection play. Harper went one way, Durkin come back the other. But you see right there, that's poor tackling by the Baltimore Colts. They should have stopped him short of the first down.
Scott Durking, who led the Jets in rushing a year ago with 567 yards, hit by assorted injuries this season in his 5th year out of Purdue, collecting the first down at the Baltimore 18-yard line. 7.5 left, third quarter, and the Jets lead 19-0. McNeil immediately diagnosed by Donnell Thompson, number 99, the rookie out of North Carolina, the Colts' second first-round pick. In fact, he was the second defensive lineman taken in the draft.
He shot through there that time, didn't he? He was about 5 yards deep. He made a hit on the running back McNeil before he had an opportunity to do anything, which indicates somebody made a mistake, because you don't design a play to run around that man and not have somebody assigned to block it.
Jets go with a slot right. That's Gaffney in the slot, 2nd and 16. And the Jets try the quick opener for Newton. And a very short pickup. So the Baltimore Colts tightening up. Joe Fettersfield, the middle linebacker, making the stop, and it is 3rd down and long.
And once again, number 42, Harper, coming into the ball game. Taking a look at the clock, and for the New York Jets, that's their friend right there. For the Baltimore Colts, they've got to get the football back and get some points on the board. I'm sure what New York is doing right now is doing things conservatively, making sure they're in position for Leahy to at least attempt a field goal.
Jets very impressive in 3rd down situations.
Plenty of time to throw.
Jones not able to hang on.
Flag is down in the backfield near Richard Todd, where he is down.
Sanders Shiver, Bruce Laird covering. Lamb Jones on the play.
Roughing the passer. That is terrible for the Baltimore Colts are concerned. One thing that you can't do, because the referee is back there. Richard Todd is going back in the pocket to throw. Has plenty of time, gets rid of the football. And now they're going to call the Colts for roughing the passer.
99 is Donnell Thompson. Hosea Taylor looked to get at Todd.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 99 defense, late blindside hit. First up.
Well, you can't be more specific than that. The late blindside hit by that man, number 99, Donnell Thompson.
Automatic first down when that happens. Todd gets rid of the football, and he comes. That's really a close call, though. I must say that in Thompson's behalf.
1st and 10, down at the 11. A lot of time for Todd. Newton on the completion inside the 10. A short pickup. Derek Hatchett was right there to make the tackle.
And also right next to Richard Todd once again is Donnell Thompson, who's doing a good job of putting heat on Richard Todd. But he got called for roughing the passer, and as I said, that's an automatic first down.
It's a 2-yard pickup. 2nd down and 8 for the Jets at the Baltimore 9. The Jets leading it 19-0. New Orleans now in front of Tampa Bay 14-3 in the 2nd quarter. The Jets looking to make it 5 in a row and take command in the AFC East. Here's Newton following Powell, and out of bounds at the 5.
So we're going to take a look now. It's going to be about 3 or 4 yards to go for the first down. They've got 3rd down coming up. And Bruce Harper and Scott Durking once again coming back in the ball game. New England now ahead of St. Louis in the 3rd quarter by the score of 13-6.
Ball is spotted at the 6. It is a 3rd and 5 for the Jets. And as Len said, Harper and Durking are back in the backfield. But Todd will put it up. Look out, that's Taylor. Hosea Taylor, the rookie out of the University of Houston, who has replaced the injured Mike Ozdowski at right end on the stop of Todd.
Best way for a pass defense to operate, put the heat on that quarterback, and they did it. Number 90 is Taylor. He's the man that's going to eventually get the sack. Todd actually had a lot of time, but the coverage was good in the secondary, and he goes down.
27-yard attempt upcoming for Leahy, who was hit on his last 17 of 18. And make it 18 of 19. So Pat Leahy, once again, he hit earlier from 37 and 21, and the Jets now lead it by the score of 22-0. The capacity crowd here at Shea, the Jets now leading it 22-0 as Leahy made it 3 out of 3. The kickoff taken by Kim Anderson. Anderson out to the 25-yard line, stopped by Al Washington, the rookie out of Ohio State. Right here, let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
WSTM TV, Syracuse.
Marv Albert, Lenny Dawson. At windy Shea Stadium in New York, it's been all New York Jets. Colts have not been able to get anything going. And Burt Jones, 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line with Zachary Dixon and Randy McMillan. At running back, 4.5 left, third quarter. That was deflected, intended for Roger Carr. Jerry Holmes got a piece of it.
Well, you can tell, but see the wind blowing. Here it is, total offense. 96 yards for the Colts. For the Jets, 232 yards. I don't believe the Colts have a first down in the second half. They haven't done anything. They haven't been able to establish. They've had terrible field position. The field position isn't too bad right now, but they have yet to pick up a first down.
That is correct. We checked with our ace statistician, John Hewitt. He said, first down, what's that? Just kidding. It is a 2nd and 10 at the 25-yard line. And Jones throwing deep. He's got the tight end McCall out at the 45, and that is the first down for the Colts this second half. Ken Schroy, the strong safety, stopping Reese McCall.
You know, I started looking for the yellow flag because it seemed like every time that Baltimore did anything, there was a yellow flag on the field. This time, Jones going back in the pocket really rifles the ball to his tight end. Steps up and throws that ball into a swirling wind. He comes up with a catch, and the first down of the second half for the Baltimore Colts. And for the Colts, they're down by 22 points. They've got to get motoring in a hurry.
Butler is left, Carr right. A lot of motion, a lot of flags flying. And here's Jones on the run. Intended for Zachary Dixon. Stan Blinken on the case. But we'll have to check the penalty flags.
The New York Jets jumped before the ball was snapped. Now we have to wait and see if they were drawn offsides. I know the right side of the Jet line, that would be Klecko over there, and Rudolph, I believe they're the ones that jumped. They're just playing pass now. This is the advantage of the New York Jets. That defensive front four, they're not really concerned that much about the running game.
Number 73, defense, still first down.
Joe Klecko offsides, but I'm saying they don't have to worry about the run. They're up by 22 points. They know that Burt Jones has to throw the football, so they're going to dig in and they're going to play pass. And when they think that, and they are leading the league with sacks, what they have 51 now?
Kenny Neal has come on replacing Ben Rudolph at the defensive right tackle. The completion to Dixon, and another Baltimore first down. Zachary Dixon stopped by Lance Mell. This is a similar situation to several weeks ago when the Jets pulled in front of the Giants with the big lead, and Jets were able to go to town with 8 sacks on the Giants, able to do whatever they wanted in the second half.
That's right. One thing that they've got, the Baltimore Colts have a problem. You've got Klecko on one side, you've got Gastineau on the other side. Who are you going to double team? You can't double team both of them unless you keep backs in to block. And if you keep backs in to help block, that takes away from your passing game.
St. Louis and New England are tied now, 13 apiece in the third quarter. Baltimore first down at the New York Jet 43-yard line. And this is Randy McMillan, who has been quiet, getting inside the 40-yard line. Randy McMillan opened the season with a super game against New England. 146 yards, 16 carries, 2 touchdowns, averaged 9 yards a carry. And It has been a different story since then, although he is averaging 4.5 yards per carry, but it's tough to get a feel for any of these stats because of the dreadful season that the Colts have had.
They haven't won a game since that first game, and they won it against the Patriots. The Patriots, they've had their problems also.
2nd down and 7. That ball was deflected and nearly picked off by Butler on the deflection. Ken Schroy on the coverage. Reese McCall made the initial deflect, and then Butler try to pick it off as we take a look at the drop back by Jones.
The ball was looked like it's partially tipped, but you're going to see it batted around like a volleyball game out there. But number 27 looked like Jesse Johnson got his hand in there and deflected it away so that it was not a reception for the Baltimore Colts.
Earlier, Jesse Johnson had been a primary target of Burt Jones. Jesse, the second-year man out of Colorado, hanging in. He's replaced the injured Johnny Lynn and replaced the injured Bobby Jackson.
He got it in there somehow, and I think it might be face masking against the Jets. I don't know how Burt Jones got that ball in there. There were 2 or 3 Jets around, but Baltimore came up with the reception.
Number 27.
And Jesse Johnson is called on the penalty. Ray Butler also did well to hold on to that football.
That's what I was saying. I don't know how he got the hold of the football because there were Jets all around.
Jesse Johnson, a 4th-round draft pick last year.
27. Defense declined. 1st down.
Johnson called for the penalty, a penalty that has been declined by Baltimore.
Here's the pass, and Jones is throwing, as they say, into traffic. And look at the traffic. There are 2 Jets around there, but he forced the ball into Butler. 27 is Johnson. He is the one that was called for pass interference. Number 48 is Schroy. He was there also. But that was a case where Burt Jones decided he was going to throw that ball to Butler, and he was going to do it, and he forced it in there. You get away with it sometimes, but oftentimes you do not.
On the subject of the many Jet injuries, the Jets feel fortunate to have Ken Schroy in the lineup. He was a question mark with back spasms throughout the week. 1st down for Baltimore at the Jet 29. And Jones going deep for Butler, covered by Johnson. So they continue to go in the direction of Jesse Johnson.
Well, he's the man that's new on the spot out there. Jerry Holmes on the other side has been playing very well. That time, Burt Jones is just getting rid of the football and throwing it away. But that Johnson had excellent coverage. New Orleans still ahead of Tampa Bay by the score of 14-10. It's in the 2nd quarter. They were up 14-0 at one time. Green Bay has taken over the lead from Minnesota, 21-14 in the 3rd quarter.
Jones is now 5 for 13, only 95 yards. And it's picked off. Ken Schroy. Ken Schroy, the 5-year man out of Maryland, with his 2nd intercept of the season, taking it 39 yards back, stopped by the combination of the quarterback. Check that, stopped by Ken Huff, the right guard. The pass intended for Ray Butler.
He just threw the ball too high. It was too away from the receiver. Schroy is there, hits him right on the stomach, comes up with the interception. The Jets have the football and also a 22-point lead, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Today is the wedding of the Amato quintuplets. I'm the father of the bride, the man who has to pay for all this. For a wedding gift, I gave each of my angels the new Sony Betamax SL5000. It's the most ingenious Betamax ever created, the simplest and easiest to use. Its advanced front-loading system is just amazing, and it even has remote control and beta scan. But the real genius of this Betamax is its price.
The genius of Betamax, only from Sony.
Opening now at Sears, a Christmas of red ribbon values. This Craftsman 43-piece mechanics tool set is $49.99. Save 50%. And save on this Craftsman 3/8 inch.
The 3rd. Mark.
Burt Jones intercepted for the 17th time this season. The pass intended for Ray Butler, and the Jets take over as Ken Schroy picked it off. First down at midfield.
He's going for 6.
Off the play action, but overthrows Bobby Jones. Jones covered by the right cornerback, Larry Braziel.
That time Todd was trying to seal this ball game going up top. Jones here, you may recall prior to this play he had forced the ball into Butler. This time he's trying to force it in there. It goes too high, right to the stomach of Ken Schroy, number 48, the safety, who makes the interception.
And I think those back spasms feeling better.
Well, there's a lot better when you're ahead by 22 points and in first place in your division.
Second down and 10. Minute 28 left, third quarter. Jets lead it 22-0. The swing for Newton.
He didn't catch it, but you can credit the left end, Donnell Thompson, number 99. He got his hands up, and that time Richard Todd had to try to throw the ball right through it. He did, and I'm sure that Newton couldn't see it. That's a screen pass, so that offensive tackle over there, in order to keep the hands of that defensive end down, has got to go down around his knees.
Look at those Pittsburgh Steelers in front of the Los Angeles Rams. 24-0 in the third.
Pittsburgh still keeping their hopes alive for at least a wild card spot, getting into the playoffs.
They come in at 7-5. Third and 10. Bruce Hopper. And Hopper picks up the first down, chased out by Reggie Pinckney.
You see where speed came in there? He caught the ball. He was well short of the first down marker, but he turned it upfield with that quickness and speed. Picked up a big first down for the New York Jets. They still maintain the football. They're now on the 34-yard line.
Bruce Hopper, who fumbled earlier in the game and received a break. See, minute 15 left, third quarter. A forward fumble that was covered up by teammate Lamb Jones, has had another fine all-around day. First down for the Jets at the Baltimore 34. Here's McNeil. Big hole. And McNeil out near the 25-yard line. Ankle tackled by Bruce Laird, the strong safety. That Jet front line now has Chris Ward and Marvin Powell at the tackles. Dan Alexander at one guard, and Stan Waldemore has come on for Randy Erasmussen, as has been customary the last few weeks. Waldemore now at left guard, and Joe Fields at center. Randy has had problems with a sprained knee, and it also has been coach's decision.
I noticed that at halftime that Randy was limping off the field going into the locker room, so he's probably hurting.
Second down and 2. This is Newton galloping. Tom Newton, who has filled in very well for the injured Mike Augustiniak. Newton had been primarily a special teams player and a solid blocking back, but he's run the ball very well.
I don't know if you noticed that when he was in the secondary and he's getting ready to get hit, both of those arms wrapped tightly around that football because he didn't want to cough it up. Looking now, the third quarter has come to an end.
So
New York
after
Jets
3
leading.
here at Shea, it's the New York Jets 22 and the Baltimore Colts nothing.
Tuesday, Ephraim runs away, and even Father Murphy.
Yes, the wind is always swirling at Shea Stadium in New York. Marv Albert along with Len Dawson. As we head to the fourth quarter, it has been all New York Jets, and they are in the midst of another drive. First down at the Baltimore 13-yard line off that last run by Tom Newton. Newton is the lone deep back. Jerome Markham and Mickey Schuler now the double tight end offense. Jets on top, 22-0. This time Newton tripped up.
Safety blitz by number 40, Bruce Laird. He was timing that, did an excellent job of getting penetration into the backfield.
Little pointing here, Len, between Dan Alexander, number 60, and Sander Shiver, the outside linebacker.
As long as that's as far as it goes, the pointing and the talking is fine, but as soon as they start getting physical, they'll both be gone. particularly with the official standing right there. Minnesota, Green Bay. Green Bay still leading Minnesota 21-20 in the third quarter.
It is second down and 12. Back at the 14. Todd trying to thread the needle for McNeil, and Smith getting a piece of it.
Almost coming up with a fine interception. That time, Richard Todd was trying to drill that ball between a couple of Colt defensive men. He was fortunate it was not intercepted.
Scott Durking and Bruce Hopper now come out of the Jet backfield. Opening minute, fourth quarter. The Jets on top, 22-0. 3 field goals by Pat Leahy from 37, from 21, and from 27. 2 touchdowns for the rookie Freeman McNeil. Richard Todd is 14 of 25, 137 yards. Third down and 12. Again, excellent protection. Hopper hit out near the 10.
Good tackle by Derek Hatchett, number 42 of the Baltimore Colts, preventing Harper from getting upfield and getting that first down. Bring now Mr. Pat Leahy into the ball game, who has been very successful. He's kicked 3 field goals so far in this ball game, and for him, this is definitely in his range.
Coming into today's play, Leahy third in scoring in the AFC. He's hit 18 of his last 19. 28-yard field goal for Leahy, and the Jets now lead the Colts by the score of 25-0 with a minute and a half gone by, fourth quarter.
Hey, look at there. Is that the Chattanooga choo-choo? Just see it shine as it heads down the line. It's got an old-time locomotive pouring smoke from the stack. When you see it chugging, there's a load down the track. See the train a-coming, it's gotta keep on running. Woo-woo, Chattanooga by Tyco.
Chattanooga Choo-Choo from Tyco, of course.
At Shea Stadium, and portions of the crowd starting to leave. The Jets with the big lead at 25-0. Colts showing no inclination to get back in this one. Here's Zachary Dixon. Penalty marker down. Dixon across the 25-yard line. Hit down by the combination of Stan Blinken and Ron Crosby, but again, we'll hear from Dick Jorgensen, a holding call against Baltimore.
Well, they have really dug themselves a hole. They've been doing this the entire ball game with penalties, and that generally is a case of lack of concentration. Things go bad.
Holding number 55, receiving team on the return. First down.
Barry Krause again.
Yeah, he's been the subject of a lot of. You can see how that affects the head coach, Mike McCormick, who is really a heck of a guy. I had the opportunity to play with he and Walt Michaels as a member of the Cleveland Browns.
And Mike McCormick has seen his club drop 11 in a row, going on number 12 here this afternoon. That is Klecko with his second sack of the day. And the Jets with their fourth of the afternoon.
It almost looked like Joe Klecko was offsides. He got such a terrific jump on that offensive lineman. And I'm sure what McCormick is saying is that he was offside. He beat the snap. 73 coming into your picture just about now that he beat his man. Joe Klecko coming back for a second sack. 68 is Jeff Hart. And he's pointing a finger saying that the guy jumped offside.
Klecko reclaiming the NFL lead from teammate Gastineau. He now has 18 on the season. It is a 2nd and 17 back at the 9. And Bert Jones wants to talk it over. Timeout call. 12:44 remaining in this fourth quarter. The Jets leading the Colts by the score 25-0. A delay of game penalty called on the Baltimore Colts. McMillan, the ball carrier, ran for one, and now Don McCauley, as we return, picks up just a yard. And the Jet defense, hearing it from the crowd, the Baltimore Colts are forced to punt from their end zone.
And penalties have hurt the Baltimore Colts all afternoon long. Put them really in a deep hole. Now that's going to put their punter in a situation. Here it's going to have to punt out of his end zone, and any missed snap back here could cost him some more points.
Bruce Hopper is up at the Baltimore 42-yard line. He's been averaging just under 15 yards per punt return, including a 46-yard return that set up a Jet touchdown. For the fair catch, and the Jets take over at the Baltimore 44-yard line. A 39-yard punt, which is one of the better punts of the day from Mike Garrett. So again, a timeout. We'll be right back. Marv Albert, Lenny Dawson back at Shea Stadium in New York. Jets take over at the Baltimore 44-yard line. 11-12 left fourth quarter. McNeil and Long, the running back. Richard Todd to throw. Again, great protection and a gorgeous catch by Barkham. They say incomplete. Barkham not able to hang on.
Well, I thought maybe Todd would try to get 6 in a hurry because of the great field position they have, but I thought maybe instead of going back and throwing the ball from the pocket, he'd throw a play-action pass. He had excellent protection by that offensive line. He was able to look all over the field before he finally released the football. Here it is, Todd going back to throw. This is a first down situation. He's looking one way, looking another way, and finally knows, he pumps. Thompson gets up in the air and he gets rid of the ball. Almost a great catch, too, by Barkham. Couldn't quite hold on.
Second down and 10. That's Jones lining up slot right. Bobby Jones in the slot. Lamb Jones wide right. Kevin Long, dive play inside the 40-yard line. Once you look for Walt Michaels to lift Todd very shortly, perhaps next series.
I'm looking on the sideline to see if anybody is warming up for the Jets. Yes, you're up by 25 points. You're in the fourth quarter, and you're the man who's got you to where you are right now. Richard Todd is hurt. That's why I think they probably love to get a quick score, get up on the board, get Richard Todd out of it.
Why take a chance? Although Pat Ryan has been suffering with a sprained ankle. This is Long. Kevin Long going outside, and he's at the first down marker. Fettersfield and Laird combining to make the stop. As we check out the scoreboard,
St. Louis now in front of New England 20-13. Otis Anderson on a 14-yard run. Packers up on top of Minnesota 28-20 in the third quarter. That's an important game in the Central Division of the NFC because Minnesota just now one game in front of both Detroit and Tampa Bay coming into the ball game today.
And Buffalo still in front of Washington now in the fourth quarter. Bills lead at 21-14. Kevin Long close to the first down on the last carry, and he's got it. Now, if the Jets hang on and win, and there would have to be a miraculous turn here in the final 10 minutes, 17 seconds, this is what the standings would look like in terms of the Jets in Miami. Buffalo, as we mentioned, in front of Washington, so they would go 8-5, and Miami playing the Eagles tomorrow night. First down at the 34. Freeman, McNeil.
Just blowing that Baltimore Colt defensive line out. He was just hanging on to his big offensive lineman, and they were just carrying him down the field for a first down on that play.
And as we mentioned earlier, you look game by game at the remaining schedule for the Jets, Miami, and Buffalo, and the Jets do have the favorable schedule. Seattle next week, at Cleveland the following week, home for Green Bay. The schedule of the Dolphins and the Bills much more difficult, at least on paper. Kevin Long. Stopped by Ed Smith, the second-year man out of Vanderbilt. Here's the Miami schedule. Philadelphia tomorrow night, coming off the upset loss at the hands of the Giants. Then New England at Kansas City. And in the finale against the Buffalo Bills.
They end up against Buffalo in their division.
And here are the Bills at San Diego following today's play at New England and at Miami. So on paper, it's in the Jet favor. Second down and 5. McNeil. Raymond McNeil near the first down marker. And he's picked up the first down. What a day it's been for the rookie out of UCLA. That's his 20th carry, 87 yards in all for McNeil. 8:25 and counting left in this fourth quarter.
Cincinnati in the fourth quarter leading Cleveland by the score of 28-14. Cincinnati Bengals, along with the New York Jets, I would say, the two hottest teams in the National Football League.
First and 10 at the 12. Here's McNeil.
Raymond McNeil on the handoff.
That play was hurt because Todd and Long bumped each other as Todd was looking to hand to the second back coming through. McNeil, Sanders Shiver making the stop on the play, no gain. Raymond McNeil with 2 touchdowns, one on a 30-yard run, and the other from 1 foot away, set up by the Bruce Hopper 46-yard punt return, plus 4 field goals by Pat Leahy, who right now is number 2 in scoring in the AFC behind Lowry of Kansas City. Richard Todd handing off and stepping out of the way, which at this point is very wise.
He's trying to keep his hands warm. I think he had an opportunity to see how they designed your jersey so that you can put your hand in there and keep it warm. And it is cooling off right now. The wind down here is whipping around. You can see it right. The wind right now, the goalposts and the streamers on the goalposts of how that wind is blowing around down there. And it swirls, which is really difficult because you really never know how the wind is going to react. There are certain spots of this stadium that are more treacherous than others.
Third down 7 from the 9. Todd going end zone. Intended for Bobby Jones. Larry Brazil covering on the play, and this will provide an opportunity for Pat Leahy to take over the scoring leadership. 102 points right here. This pending on what takes place around the National Football League, but Leahy has been on fire. As you see, he is connected on 19 of his last 20. Last week, 3 out of 3 against Miami. Looking to make it 5 out of 5 right here. 27-yard attempt. Matt Ryan will put it down.
Blocked. Can't get a hold of it. If he could have gotten a hold of it, it could have been 6 points.
Larry Brazil. On the block, the recovery by Derek Hatchett. So one of the few positives that the Baltimore Colts have come up with this afternoon, as Leahy is finally stopped with 6:36 left in this fourth quarter.
IBM put a lot of what it knows about computers into the new IBM personal computer. Not to make it complicated, but to make it simple, so it's easy to understand and easy to use. IBM made its personal computer to help a person be more productive, to help a person be more creative. And those are good reasons for a person to feel good. The IBM personal computer, now at selected stores across the country.
Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer.
The people here in California know their beer. In fact, beer is a big part of their Oktoberfest. Schlitz, please. And for our master brewer, the final test is a beer drinker's taste.
I think Schlitz tastes a little better than Bud.
It's nice and mellow. I like it.
I'm impressed. This Schlitz really tastes good.
Mr. Stellinger, I'll go with your Schlitz.
I knew you would.
Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer.
Next Saturday, 2 undefeated heart-punching heavyweights wage war as Tim Witherspoon slugs it out with Alfonso Ratliff in the Battle of the Unbeatens, plus U.S.-China women's dual gymnastics. Next Saturday on NBC Sports World.
Well, Jet fans confident that this one is history. They are filing out with their club in front of the Baltimore Colts, 25 2-0. We talked at the start, Len, about the possibility of a letdown, and this just shows how far this Jet club has come along.
You know, the Jets haven't seen that in a long time, where the people are filing out with 6.5 minutes remaining in the ball game.
First down for Baltimore, 26-yard line. Jones stepping up and hitting Zach Dixon out of the 33, covered by Lance Bell. So Baltimore coach Mike McCormick, in his second year as head coach of the Colts, he has won only 8 of 28 coming in the midst of many rumors concerning his future. In Baltimore, the name Frank Kush has surfaced several times. Others feel that Baltimore owner Robert Irsay will stay with McCormick, perhaps attempting to aid him from time to time by sending in a play or two the final few games of the season.
I don't know how much aid that is.
One did click for a touchdown.
Yes, I know, but
here's Pat Ryan warming up, and I would assume that we will see Pat on the next series. Zach Dixon on that last play, stopped by Klecko and Crosby. It sets up a 3rd down and 2. The Jet front 4 now with Gastineau, Salam, Rudolph is back, and Klecko. Buttle, Crosby, and Bell are the linebackers. Dixon for the first down. Zachary Dixon, in his 3rd year out of Temple, originally drafted by Denver, played with the Giants and the Eagles before joining Baltimore late last year. Comes off a good one in the loss against the Cardinals a week ago.
Pittsburgh shutting out Los Angeles 24-0 in the 4th quarter. Steelers very much in the running for a playoff spot. Cincinnati in the 4th quarter ahead of Cleveland 28-14. Looks like Cleveland is out of it.
And Buffalo still leading Washington 21-14 in the 4th. Bert Jones completing to Reese McCall, throwing another bullet. Buttle and Crosby combined on the stump, and Baltimore with another first down.
St. Louis ahead of New England in the 4th quarter, 20-13. For New England, they have just 2 victories on the year. Buffalo ahead of Washington, 21-14 in the 4th quarter. New Orleans ahead of Tampa Bay, 14-10 in the 3rd quarter. It's Green Bay Packers up on top of Minnesota in the 4th quarter, 28-20.
Just under 4 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. Nearly picked off by Schroy, who intercepted one earlier, intended for Ray Butler.
And I think it's only because of the real strong arm of Bert Jones that it wasn't intercepted, because Schroy was there. He was reading this all along. Jones tried to go to the outside. This is a tough pass because you really got to rifle the ball, and he does. As you can see, 48, Ken Schroy was there. And if the ball hadn't been thrown quite so hard, he'd have been in a position to gather it in and go right down the sideline.
It'll be a 2nd and 10 for the Colts at their 48-yard line. See the stats on Jones. He's been intercepted once by Schroy. Springs in as the nickel back. And the completion. Butler had the ball stripped by Johnson.
Bounce pass.
It is a completed pass for Ray Butler, and the play was whistled dead.
If they are giving it as a completion, for throwing the ball back. Here it is, Jones going to number 80, Butler. He's going to fire this ball. It looks like he's made the catch. Here it is, right at the numbers.
And they changed their mind, Len. They say now incomplete. They were spotting
like, that under the new rules, he had that ball. That was completion. Both feet were on the ground, and he had possession of the football.
And they began to spot it, but a change on the call. Well, St. Louis and New England now tied at 20 in the 4th quarter. 3rd and 10 for Jones. In trouble. Chased by Gastineau. Able to get it away, and McMillan was ripped down by Buttle.
Almost tore his head off. That was Buttle, 51. A lot of pressure on Burt Jones. He was looking for help when he was scrambling. 99 is Gastineau. The outside trying to come to the inside. Good job of blocking on him. Now he sees Jones scrambling, and he's going to go after him. Burt does get rid of the football, but that's just it. Buttle, 51, tried to tear his head off.
At this point, the Jets have come up with 4 sacks on the day, 2 by that man, Mark Gastineau, and 2 by Joe Klecko, so they have maintained their pace. 4th and 10, and with 3:37 remaining, Baltimore will play out the 4th down. Look out.
76, Rudolph was back there. I don't know whether they get credit with the sack or not because Jones went down, but there was pressure all around. Number 7, Burt Jones. You can see he's not happy about this afternoon.
And the crowd responding to the gyrations of Mark Gastineau. The Jets will take over. 3 minutes, 26 seconds remaining in this 4th quarter, and Pat Ryan is coming on.
Pat Ryan is in the ball game, substituting now for Richard Todd, who's on the sideline.
And Rudolph received credit for the sack, 5 on the day for the Jets. Freeman McNeil, who has been the workhorse out of the Jet backfield. Let's go to Byron Day for an NFL update.
Okay, Marv, thank you. At Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, the Bengals are really making it around. Pete Johnson running it in from 11 yards out. The Bengals now lead at 34-14 over the Browns in the 4th quarter. Marv?
Thank you, Byron. Marv Albert, Len Dawson from Shea. Just under 3 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. Bobby Jones going out to the left side. Lamb Jones is right. Pat Ryan, who is 4 for 9 on the season with a touchdown and an interception, keeping it on the ground. Again, it is McNeil, stopped by Ed Smith, number 52. The backup linebacker on the right side. Pat Ryan suffered a sprained ankle against the Patriots 2 weeks ago and taking over for Richard Todd after Todd was injured. And when Ryan sprained his ankle, Todd had to come back in the lineup. McNeil now 93 yards on 24 carries. The stats on Ryan, he did not throw a pass all last year and threw only 16 times his previous 2 seasons. Here's his first attempt. And let's see, did he pick it off? Intended for Gaffney. Nearly intercepted by Larry Brazil. Penalty marker thrown down. Ryan on his first attempt of the day and coming on for Richard Todd. Pat is in his 4th year out of the University of Tennessee.
Holding, number 64, offense, decline, 4th down.
Guy Bingham, who has taken over for Joe Fields at center, is called for the hold. Leahy will come on once again with 4th down and 7. Larry Brazil being attended to on the sideline following that last play in which he nearly picked off Ryan. This is a 48-yard attempt. Leahy is 4 for 5 on the day. So the score remains the Jets over the Colts 25-0 with just under 2 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1975, Bum Phillips versus Don Shula. Needing more than a field goal, Dan Pastorini hands off to Ronnie Coleman. He cuts back inside one tackler, breaks outside, then rumbles over a second tackler, sidesteps a third, breaks the grip of a fourth, and powers his way through tacklers 5, 6, and 7. Houston wins 20-19.
Alcoa can't wait.
For half a century, aluminum has played an important role in the development of the automobile. That's especially true today. Aluminum's now being used in dozens of new ways to reduce weight and increase fuel economies. There's a real demand for the lean and lively cars of the 80s, because the more aluminum we put into them, the more MPGs you get out of them.
We can't wait for tomorrow. Alcoa can't wait.
The Baltimore Colts taking over at their 31-yard line. The NFL report with Bryant coming up. All the scores and highlights. Len Dawson has gone downstairs for interviews for the NFL report that follows the Jets and the Baltimore Colts. Diving catch by Ray Butler. Ray has been one of the few bright spots this afternoon. Ray and Troy covering up. Baltimore coach Mike McCormick. We talked earlier about all the speculation concerning his future. Also speculation regarding next year's draft. McCormick, if he is around, seems to be leaning toward a top defensive player. And the owner of the Colts, Robert Irsay, indicating that he wants a glamour quarterback, someone like Art Schlichter of Ohio State. Jones just throwing it away. Jesse Johnson covering on the play. And a scoring update. Tampa Bay now leading New Orleans 17-14. So the Buccaneers coming from behind, looking to spoil matters for Bum Phillips. Green Bay now out in front of Minnesota 35-20 in the fourth quarter. All the scores and highlights coming up with Brian Gumbel on the NFL report following the Jets and the Colts. A minute 16 left. The New York Jets making it 5 straight victories. Jones dumping to McCauley. Don McCauley out near the first down marker. Al Washington, fourth round draft pick, a rookie out of Ohio State, making the stop. And Walt Michaels now with quite a bit of shuffling on that defensive unit. He has Washington, Marty Wetzel, a rookie out of Tulane, and Ron Crosby at the linebacker positions. Gastineau, Rudolph, Neal, and Klecko up front. So Gastineau and Klecko have gone the distance. And in the secondary, Dow Ray, Jesse Johnson, Ken Schroy, and Jerry Holmes.